future on the staff site. Okay, let's see here. So our agenda today is to talk about the CCE websites that are out there. I always like to sort of review sort of what we're talking about when we're talking about CCE websites. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to point you guys to some resources we have on the staff site. I'm going to talk a little bit about hosting your website at Cornell and outside Cornell. So I am going to mute here. If I've muted you and you need to talk, you can unmute yourself next to your name up top. Let's see here. Tyler, there we go. I'm also going to talk about the CCE web template that we have to get you guys started on a website for your program. Here, I need to, let's see. Everybody that I can mute here so that we don't have so much. Okay. So remember, if you want to talk, you can also unmute yourself. Did the crosstalk go away, Jim? I hope that you guys can hear me. Okay. Let's see, the CCE web template a little bit. We're going to talk about URLs. This has actually come up. This comes up now and again. So I'd like to talk to you about the URLs that you can have for your site and what we recommend and how we can help you with that. Let's see. We'll also talk about analytics, which is basically tracking traffic on your site. I'm not going to go into that in a detailed way because we don't have enough time to do that. I'm going to show you a little bit of analytics. It's something that I recommend that everybody do for the site. I'm going to talk about what basics on what's needed to create and maintain a site. I find people a lot of programs and things sort of run to this, we need a site, but they don't actually give a lot of thought into what's needed to actually maintain that site, which means that we have a lot of stale websites out there. So I do want to cover just a little bit. Again, feel free to let us know if you have questions along the way, and we'll keep from there. So let me get to the slide here. Okay, so current state of the CCE website. So many sites throughout the system. We have, I guess, what I'm calling the main CCE websites, which is sort of the CCE's main presence out there. There happen to be sites that are maintained here on campus. They are CCE public sites, CCE staff that I guess I would consider main sites. But there are many, maybe like 100 other sites. There's at least one site for each association out there. There are sites for our area teams. There are sites for many different programs, such as the Small Farms Program, the Beginning Farmers Program. There's sites for all these different types of programs. So the way they have come about in the past is they sort of they pop here and there whenever somebody needs them. So they're very in their design, in their state of repair, in the information provided. There really isn't a common look and feel out there, and a lot of the content out there is outdated. Not most, I would say. I would say if you do a Google search on CCE, you come up with quite a bit of outdated content. And that has to do with these sites being sort of thrown up there and not available to actually update them. So we'll talk about that a bit. But before we do that, let me show you guys what I'm talking about when I talk about, here's my desktop. Okay, you see my desktop. So let's see here. When I talk about the CCE main site, this is the primary site for CCE. This is a site that we maintain here on campus. There is a staff site as well. This is a site that's available to anybody who has a CornellNet ID. If you're sitting in an association office, most of you can get without having to do anything extra, without even having to log in. Some of you cannot get to this and usually use VPN to log in to get to it. So, but this is where we post. This is like our intranet. This is where we post information for you guys to use out there in the association. The information we're trying to get to you, but don't share with the entire world. That's basically what this is. Into the main site for a second. If you click on local offices, you can actually see the sites for each local office out there. So I don't want to pick on anyone in particular, so I am just going to randomly click and show you a couple different sites. This is Chenango County, and you can see what the site looks like, and we can roll down here, and I'm going to randomly pick another one, like Genesee, and you can click. So there are a lot of different sites look different from each other. Houston County, a lot of them look very nice, but the state of the CCE system out there on the web is very it's very varied. I mean, for a lot of sites, there's not obvious that we all belong to the same organization. So one of the things that the communications team has come up with is a way, if you are creating a new site or if you're trying to sort of untangle yourself from a current site and you want to start fresh, there is a way to create a CCE website which looks same with other sites, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. We're back to explore. Okay, I should show you this. So one of the things that we came up with when we started talking about this here on campus is come up with a place for us to store the information that we want to give to you about, how do I, what kind of ones do I need to create that site, to maintain that site? How do I look photos? Where do I download a logo from my association, that kind of thing. And that's here at the staff site, the communications part of the staff site. So I'm sorry, I should have showed you that already. So let me go back and show you that. You go to the staff site on the communications over here on the left, and you can see a lot of these tools here. And if Lisa were here, she would talk a little bit more about these, but we're constantly sort of adding to these. Sort of as issues come up, we try to keep this updated. Show you guys, we recommend as far as sites go, and as far as your branding and your messaging goes, and all of these recommendations are actually based on the Cornell branding recommendations. So there's a sort of higher power here that we sort of report to, and we translated that for our own, for CE as well, and translated it into things that make sense for our system. So when in here, a lot of the things I'm going to show you today are covered already in here. For example, I'm going to show you a lot about the web, the web template and other guidelines having to do with the web. That's under the web tools and styles. So here, and there are links to logos, there are links to the web template, and all of that in here. So as I'm showing you guys, if you wanted to take a look at what's everything that I'm about to show you is linked in here. Let me go back to this. Okay. Get into template and all that. Let me talk about a little bit about hosting. Whenever you come up with a site, I'm sure that many of you already are involved in sites out there, so this is probably nothing new to you. But for those of you who aren't involved in websites out there, you have some choices about where to host your site. So the main choice is, do I want to host it at Cornell, or do I want to host it outside of Cornell? So for the slide, I just put up there a bunch of ways you can actually host your site at Cornell. And at Cornell, the one that I am recommending to most people now is Cornell Blogs. Cornell Blogs, even though it has the word blogs in it, the site you put up there does not have to be it doesn't have to look like a blog, it doesn't have to work like a blog, it can work like any other sort of static site. It uses WordPress, which is a blog hosting software. You can actually sort of create a blog up there and have it act just like a regular static site. And the reason I recommend it, there are two reasons I recommend it. One is that it's free. So you can actually create a blog for yourself. You can actually create as many as you need to for your for programs out there. It's very easy, so it's free. It's very easy to use. We also have a CC template sort of built into these, which I'll show you in a minute or so. So that is my #1 recommendation for free hosting. There's something called Cornell Static Hosting, which a number of you are using. I don't know if people on this call are using it. I'm just sort of going down here. A few of you may actually be using that right now. This is a free way to host your site on Cornell at Cornell. This would be something like if you actually had pages that you were maintaining using something like Dreamweaver. You could upload here to the static hosting. I do have to say that seems to me, so this is all hosted by CIT here at Cornell, and it seems to me that the static hosting might be changing. I don't know if it's going to go away. I mean, obviously, if it goes away, there will be a way for you guys using it to merge to something different. I don't know if it's going away, if they're going to start charging for it, but there's been a lot of sort of upheaval in that particular part of CIT. So I actually recommend starting up new static hosting. But if you're using static hosting, just keep in mind that it might be changing in the future. And one of the reasons that I say it might be changing is because of this next bullet point, which is Cornell hosting. So it is a way to host a very interactive site. That if you had a site that was running on a database, if you wanted to store install a content management system and stuff like that, you could actually do that through Cornell LAMP hosting. This used to be free. It actually is free through July 2013. So through this coming July, they're going to be charging for that in July, and the same people who run that are the ones who run the static hosting. So I kind of have a feeling that after that fallout happens, something will happen with the static hosting as well. You can still sign up for that if you want, and you can look at the pricing for that on the CIT website. If you can't find that, let me know. I'll try to point you there. Thing called Cornell Common Spot. Now, this is a content management system that was actually very pricey, and it is being discontinued. I don't think any of you guys out there, I haven't heard of anybody out there who are using it, but if you are using it, just be aware that it is being discontinued, and it shouldn't be something that you're considering for hosting. Cornell is going to be starting a Drupal instance, so that is coming up. It hasn't been released yet. I don't really know where they are in the stages of that. I bet they're going to be charging for it, which is why I said probably. And as we find out more about that, we will let you guys know. Would you host at Cornell? Basically, you would host at Cornell because this is all maintained and supported by CIT. So actually do have people who are available to help you when there's a problem with your site, and that's why you might host something at Cornell. And the reason for the blog particularly, I would say, if you're trying to throw up a quick site, using Cornell blogs is a really easy way to do it, and having it sort of be protected under that Cornell umbrella. But to note, only people who have an NID can actually make updates to any of these kinds of sites. You have to have an NID. For example, for static hosting, if you have a contractor or something that you've hired to help you maintain your site, you have to get them an NID, and that's through a sponsored NID. So just a warning out there that anybody needs Any more? Okay. Hosting your website outside Cornell. So obviously there are a zillion places you can host your website. You can use a local developer who might have a hosting instance. You could use something like WordPress.com. There are a million ways. You can actually use one of the Drupal suppliers and set up your own Drupal instance. I think Tyler, who is on the phone, might be doing something like that. There are lots of different places you can use it. You can possibly host with the original developer. This, of course, is not free. You have a few free sites out there, such as WordPress.org, or something like, I think a couple of you might be using Shutterfly to host your sites. That's free, but just be aware, if you actually put something up there, you will have ads on your site as well, so that are coming from that. That is how those sites actually support themselves. So it's something we recommend. Just you end up with a lot of ads and you can't really control on your site. And of course, these sites are all managed and supported by whatever you choose, and sometimes there is an extra cost for that. Okay. So CCE template. Last year we came up with a very, very basic template, because we heard from a lot of you that I want to throw up a website. I don't have either the skill or the money or the people on staff in order to actually design this website for me. Isn't there something basic that we can work from? So we drew up something basic for you guys to work from. And I only do update it because it does have a couple issues with it, as with anything like this. There's always a couple issues. So the template, I'm going to show you how to apply that to your blog. You can also apply it, so you can apply it to a blog that you have hosted at Cornell. You can also apply it to a blog that you have, if you have any blogs that are hosted at like WordPress or something like that. You can also you can bring a template over there if you'd like. It won't stay current with if I make updates to it if you're hosting it elsewhere, so you would have to think. Incorporated into this template is some style guidelines that we came up with about designing content for your site, and there's some sort of basic features that are part of this that you can't actually change about it. There's a content header, which is a banner, the red Cornell banner with the logo, and it has a gray menu bar, and there's some common fonts and colors you can't change. Let me show you guys how it is to create a blog. So let me do this. Okay, I'll share with you guys again. Next one. I want that just so I can see if anybody's chatting me. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go to blogs.cornell.edu, and you can do this. Get here, you can click on Login, and when it brings you to the screen, you actually want to click this blue button here that says Use My Cornell Member ID. When that prompts you to log in, now it's not prompting me to log in because I'm already logged in for WebEx, for running this WebEx server, so it's WebEx session. So, but normally it just prompts you for your net ID and your password. Okay, so when you get here, you'll see up in the upper left, My Sites, and it shows you all of the sites that you have. If you just click on My Sites, the page, that will all of the sites you already have. And as you can see, I have a lot of sites. Most of them are tests and sort of demo sites that I use for these kinds of trainings. Some are real, but not all of them. So to create a new site, you do this. You create a new site up here in the upper left. It's all your sites for you to remind you how many you already have. So as you can see, I have quite a bit, and I don't know if there's a limit, but I don't think that there is. It prompts you for a URL. So I'm going to call this text. invented with my name. There's my test blog that I'm going to create. Obviously, if you were creating this for your association, you would put your association name there, or for a program, you put your program name there. But I will just leave it as test. Things that you have to choose here. So this is basically saying, do you want your site to be picked up in search engines? So of course, if you're creating a site for association or for your program, you probably do want it picked up in search engines. So you say yes. This is sort of the same question, and I don't really know why they ask this question twice, but basically, if you want to set up your site, for everybody to get to it, you say public. The reason I ask you all of this is because, of course, you can set up a blog for a limited audience as well. You can sort of have a blog which you're using in a blog format where you're chatting back and forth with people. This is what we're doing here. We're trying to create a website for our association. So, of course, we want it to be public. Down at the bottom here, one of those I forget what they're called, the cactus type things. This is the first one though. I've never had another site where it actually gives you pets to look at. So let me quickly go through here. I'm supposed to pick all the cats. Little cats. This is the you have to type in funny letters and funny words for me to do when I'm in demo. Okay, so I think I picked all the cats, and then you say create a blog. Okay, it makes the blog, and it says, hey, here you go. So I'm going to click on that to take a look at the blog. Okay, so this right now, this is sort of using the default Cornell University design. So the first thing I'm going to do is change that to our CCE design. So I'll show you how to do that. If you go up to this little menu up here, one of the drop downs here is dashboard. Okay. Anyway, everything that I'm doing here, I actually recorded some little screencasts about they're sitting on the staff communication site. So you feel like you have to write all this down. It's all there for you. You can watch them again and hear me explain again. What I do is I want to change the theme to the CCE. So I'm going to click on themes here. And with there's a lot of available themes. So the thing you want to do is under the search box over here on the right, search for CCE. Okay, comes up with two. I don't know what this one is, but this is the one that we want. This is the CCE theme, this first one. So I'm going to click on that. And when it looks kind of ugly because it doesn't quite know which logo to use yet. So I'm going to show you how to choose the logo to use for this. So basically, I'm going to click on header image here. Oops, image drop down. So, okay, in the little drop down box there, and what you want to do is click on the default. When you click on default, there's every county is represented here, and I'm really sorry, they're not in alphabetical order. And every time I do this, I'm more and more embarrassed that they're not in alphabetical order. My next template redo, I'm going to try to put them in alphabetical order. So you actually have to find your county in here if you're creating this for your particular county. So, for example, I could do Nassau here, and let's see what that looks like. So that puts the Nassau County logo there. If you're not doing this for a county, if you're doing it for a particular program or an area team or something like that, what you can do is you can choose the generic cooperative extension logo, which is this one. And when you notice that it changes over here a little bit, then it displays the title of your blog. So basically, the thought is you would choose this logo, and then the title of your blog will say which area team you're using, Harvest New York area team or something like that. So you can actually change the top of your blog to be the title of what you want your website to be. Straighten out, you can say save, activate. It makes your blog the CCE theme. Now, if I go up to the top again and I say visit site, I can see what it looks like. very bloggy. It has some, it has like a blog posting, it has some categories over here. The thing I want to show you guys, because a lot of people don't realize you can do this, is you can change this to just look like a static page. You can look just like a website, not like a blog back and forth type of discussion site. So let me quickly show you that, and then I'll move on further in my demo. So let me go back to the dashboard here. Okay, so the thing you have to do when you're going to do this is you have to create a page that's going to be your home page. So I'm going to say, I'm going to go pages over here, and I'm going to say add new, and it's a boring page because I don't have time to show you guys too much more, but I'm going to make a home page here, and I'm going to say, I'm not going to put anything, I'll put a little bit of test on there, and I'm going to say publish. Okay, this is our home page. Next thing that you can do is you go to your settings, and you can go reading under settings. This says is the first option we want here. It says front page display either your latest post. So your latest post means that you want to use this as a blog and you want to show all of the posts on the home page, or just show a static page. And so I'm going to choose a static page and make my front page be home, which is that new page I just created. So let's go and see what that does. Really, I've heard to do everything. I'll go back to visit my site and see what it looks like now. Now my homepage is looking a little bit better. It doesn't look like a blog anymore. It's, you know, this really lame information I put on it. But obviously, if you were creating this for your own site, you would be putting pictures up here and text and all sorts of things. And you can format it you can format these pages very easily. It's easy to go into any of these pages and edit them. This it only shows up for me when I'm logged into it. When I'm viewing this as a typical person, I don't see any of the edit stuff at the top or this little button here. Basically, how you put up a like an association site using the CCE theme in blogs.cornell.edu. As you can port theme around. So if you're already hosting a blog somewhere else, I can give you the code for the theme, and you can bring it over to your blog that's sitting over on WordPress or whatever. If you have a blog sitting over on WordPress and you you're just hearing about the blogs for the first time now, and you're saying, hey, that might be a good idea because it's free, you can actually export from your external blog and import into a blog in the Cornell site and bring all your data in. If you're doing something like that, I recommend you give a call maybe just to talk about it, because our occasions, our Cornell blogs is limited in its capabilities. So there have been occasions where somebody is using something that is available outside of Cornell, but that is not available on the Cornell blog site. And then if you had brought the information in, it's missing some of the features that you might want. So if you are thinking of moving stuff over, you can go and I can try to help you with that. Have any questions? Template? I know Dean is in the room with me. Can everyone still hear me? Please, somebody check.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yay. You're one person. Okay. Oh, great. I'm going to see a lot of Z's come back on the chat screen when I say that. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to move on to just talk about URLs briefly. So one thing I want to talk about is that URLs for CCE sites have been standardized as a rule. We have a lot of CCE, as I mentioned. We have 100, maybe 100 sites there, and a lot of them do not have a standard URL. Some of them are cce.cornell.edu/Albany something. Some of them are ccealbany.org. .org. Some have very unique URLs. I think there's one called decorative.extension.org or something like that. That might be, oh no, I can't remember who that is, but there are a bunch of different URLs out there. Remember, so we're not actually telling you you have to stick to any kind of URL. If you want to come up with a URL for your site, that's fine. What to remember is that we maintain here standard URLs for everybody. So, for example, there is the cce.cornell.edu/Albany, and there's www.cce.cornell.edu/Albany, and there's also counties.cce.cornell.edu/Albany. All of actually are redirected to the real Albany URL. And the reason we do this is because you have sort of gone through transitions with your websites. We've moved it from different places, different hosting services. Your URL has changed, but we wanted to be able to keep a standard URL so that we're going to print it on something. You know, if you wanted to print it on, you know, some head or something, they always have a URL that actually redirected to whatever your current URL is. Just for if you have something at Cornell as well. I mean, for the blogs, if you decide to create a blog, then what I would end up doing is, at one point you let me know that you were actually creating a blog for your site, and I could actually redirect one of these to the Cornell blog, so that these URLs always work. So know if you change site URL, I do have a student that occasionally goes through checks to make sure that all of our redirects are still working, but we don't automatically know if you change URLs because most of you are hosting outside of Cornell, so please let us know. If you register a non-Cornell URL, such as ccealbany.org or whatever, you guys purchase it, and there's a yearly fee. The fee is usually pretty tiny. It's usually, I forget, like $8 a year. It might be a little bit more than that, maybe $12 a year or something like that. And there are hundreds of places you can purchase them from. GoDaddy is one. That's what I do for my my personal URLs, but as I said, there are hundreds of them. If you have somebody working on your website, they might do this for you. If you use an outside host for your site, you should follow their instructions for directing, you know, whatever the URL that you purchased to your own site. If you use Cornell as a host, such as if you're using a static hosting at Cornell, or if you're using the blog system or LAMP, whatever at Cornell, and you're using an outside URL, you have to first register that URL with Cornell so that it can be attached to your site. And if you need to go through that process, please let me know, and I can step you through it. You're just saying we changed our URL years ago. A lot of people did that. But the affiliation URLs, I do actually redirect them to, I redirect these three to whatever the URL is that you changed. And if it's not actually changing to the right place, please let me know. What are certificates? What about them, Tyler? If you want to speak, feel free. Keep moving forward, but if you want to continue with me now.
Sorry. You just had I had the thing muted on the computer and on the phone. So Cornell offers SL certificates, if I'm remembering that. Wondering what process is and if you have any involvement in that.
I actually do not know that process. So I haven't had to set it up for anybody yet, and I actually have not set it up here for us either. But I suspect it's through CFT, and I can help you. I mean, if you're trying to get through it and you don't know the right person to call, just let me know. So and everybody out there, for anyone I'm talking about here, if you need help, by means, please let me know. You can contact me through the CCE Help Desk email, cce-helpdesk@cornell.edu. have a better answer.
Okay. I just wanted to see if there was anything on that subject. So I'll
Okay.
do you later.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about analytics. So I know I'm sort of jumping all over the place, but since I promised you web stuff, I wanted to give you sort of a little brief on all of the different kinds of support that we give you with web stuff. So they're basically ways for you to collect information about your site. So ways for you to see, sort of how much traffic your website is getting, traffic is coming from, what types of operating systems people are using and what types of browsers they're using, how they're getting to your site via, if they're getting there through from other sites, or if they're getting there through Google searches. If they're getting there from Google searches, what are the keywords that are being used to get to your site and get to different pages of your site? So analytics are great. The thing that we're recommending to use right now are Google Analytics. They're free, and they are they're a nice tool, and it's really interesting information and information that you can sort of mold to be what you need it to be, especially if you have somebody saying, why have this website? Is anybody hit? Or we did this redesign for this website. Has it increased our presence out there at all? You can actually use analytics to sort of answer these questions. Let's see. The thing I mentioned here is there are two Google tools I actually recommend. One is called Google Analytics, and one is called Google Webmaster Tools. I'm not so sure why they're separate tools. The thing I do like to say is that the Webmaster Tools is really easy to set up. So especially if you're running a static site out there. So if you're running which is just a bunch of static pages that you're using Dreamweaver or whatever to edit, Webmaster Tools is simple to set up. Analytics is a little bit harder to set up. So you might want to think at least in the beginning about using Webmaster Tools, and then sort of working the analytics into your site as you go. Webmaster Tools is not as pretty, it does not have as much detail, does not give you pretty graph like analytics does, but it is something to sort of work from. So I'm going to share my screen again here. Let me show you a little bit about analytics. So one thing, let me open up another tab here. I'm just going to search for Google Analytics, because I say analytics.google.com, but I always forget. Okay, so it's Google Analytics. If you have a Gmail, you need to get one at this point. So if you're going to be using this, you actually need a Gmail account. Gmails are very easy to come by. You can just go to gmail.com and sign up for one, choose a name, and you can use it for your analytics here. So click on sign in, and I'll sign in using my Gmail account. Oh, it's signing me in. And then hopefully it will come up. I swear earlier, here it comes. This kind of stuff always happens. Okay. So see, this part of the interface is kind of ugly. You can kind of see a bunch of sites that I have set up here, and you can see up any of these sites and see what I have. So let me actually open up our public site just to show you what analytics look like. Come on. It's big graph that's coming up, that is coming up. Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. When you go into analytics, you'll see there are lots of different ways you can sort of slice and dice the information here. And basically, when you log in, it gives you an overview like this. So I can see what the traffic is like on our public site. I can see that on every weekend it goes down, and then it comes back up during the week. These are actually our weekdays. Let's see. I'm here of Chatter. If somebody has their somebody to mute, could you mute? Actually ask what kind of analytics come with the built-in Cornell template. I'm going to show you, Jim, how to add Google Analytics to there. Let me see if I can mute whoever's making noise here. Tyler? Tyler's muted. There's somebody else. There we go. Okay. So you in a second how to integrate these into the Cornell into the blog. So you can actually slice and dice this. So if you want to actually see where your traffic is coming from, this is basically recording hits on your pages on your site, so you can see where traffic is coming from. You know, as expected, most of the traffic on the CCE mainly comes from the United States. We have some other countries in here as well, Canada, India, and some other things. And then actually drill down into each of those. So I can drill down into the United States, and I can states. Of course, New York comes up on top, but you know we have Massachusetts and Pennsylvania, etc. You can actually go down and see some areas, some county things like that. Some other look at in here, you can look at the technology. If you are on this sort of you know, techie end of this, and you're really interested in how your site is being viewed by different browsers and different OSs, this is a great place to look and see, like, so I can do this and see, oh look, most visitors are actually using Internet Explorer, so I can make sure that everything on my site works in Internet Explorer. But you know what, the second used one is Firefox, so I better make sure it works there as well. And you can actually see areas, so you know that's on a phone. You can sort of see that kind of thing as well. So so it makes sense to sort of look at this. You can actually drill down through the mobile area to see what kinds of devices are used. So we have people coming in, not many people, but we do have people coming in through iPads and iPhones and other things as well. Another thing to look in here is under content, and this is where a lot of people are interested to see. Right, you can actually see which pages are being hit the most. So, you know, I can see this is my home page for my site. So the home page, and it's what I would expect. It's up on top for my site. And you can see how the other pages fall. So this is really interesting information. You can see all sorts of things. You can see with traffic sources over here on the left, where people are coming from when they're getting to your site. And again, you can see things like keywords that are being used to look at your site. So I go into all of it, but I do recommend if you do have a site, set this up on site, and it's very easy to set up. I'm going to show you right now how to set it up for the blog site. So let's do that. Let's go out to my home page and how to get there. Just this off. What I like about analytics is I find that the interface is a little bit clunky. Okay, sign in again, and let me go to the site. Oh my, I maybe shouldn't set these webinars up at 1 afternoon, because that's when a lot of internet traffic actually happens. I'm going to say, I think it's under all accounts. Under admin. Sorry, I did this earlier. Okay, new account here. So a new account. And your website is already set up, so I'm going to call it the same thing that blog site that I already set up was called, which was 11/29/2012. And what I want for you here is to actually put the URL of your site in there. So let me go up to my site and grab my URL. Okay. In here, into my website URL. Thank you, industry. I think that they're just getting some demographics from us. A time zone, you know, you can change to your time zone. And we can say, I think we can leave account name blank, and we can say get tracking. Oh, I guess we can't leave it blank. Name it the same. tracking ID. Okay, terms of service. Accept. And then after a minute, it comes at the very top, you get this thing called tracking ID. So let me grab that. I'm just going to copy that. Blog. Because the second thing you have to do, after you've created an account, you have to actually tell your site that you want then the site to be putting information, you want to be collecting information from the site. So I'm going to go to my blog and go back to my dashboard here. And go into settings and see Google Analytics is one of the options here. If I click that, my tracking code, which is that thing just copied into my buffer, so I'm going to just paste it into there, and I'm going to say save changes. Now, this site will be tracked. So any hits to the site will be tracked going forward. It does take a day. I think it's a day, maybe 2 days for it to show up in Google Analytics. So if I showed you this right now, it's just a big blank emptiness because nobody has clicked the site, and because Google hasn't collected any information yet. But you know, this is the type of thing that's best done sort of as soon as possible, so that you can start tracking information as soon as you have it. So if you have a site out there, you know, by all means do that. The other thing I'll show you about analytics is if you don't have a blog site, it's this bit on the bottom here which says this is your tracking code, copy and paste it into the code of every page you want to track. If you actually are maintaining a static site somewhere where you're maintaining a bunch of pages using Dreamweaver or whatever, you can paste this script in every page of your site and then have those pages be tracked. As I said before, this is a little cumbersome because you have to do it to every page. If you're on content management systems, some content management systems run so that there's sort of a master page or something like that, and sometimes you can get away with just copying it into that master page and not having to do it in every single page. You're just using a basic sort of old-fashioned HTML site, you will have to copy this into every page. But it's the same deal. You copy this into every page and then you're good to go for analytics. And back to, does anyone have any questions? Okay, I think I am at the end of what I was going to talk about. Does anyone have any questions about anything I've talked about or anything I didn't cover that you would like me to cover?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, this is a bigger picture question, but what I've always wondered about our County website maintain a lot of content in a range of areas, and particularly in the agricultural area, and it just seemed to me an awful lot of what we're doing would be better done once for the system. Thought about, for example, creating web content content about crops, for example, or about farm business management that could be adopted by local websites rather than us creating those content areas ourselves.
I have not heard since the sites are in the set up and run. I actually haven't heard of any initiative to do that. However, it is a great idea, and I would say it would be a good idea to, sort of as the SEN regions get more established and things like that. That would be a great way, I think, of sort of reducing, all of this duplicate stuff we're doing out there. I would totally recommend, talking to your EDs or SEN leads about that thing. But I haven't heard of any initiative that is doing that right now.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if there are any area teams people on the call. But I know that the area teams out there, some of them are actually sharing they've pooled resources and they're actually sharing websites. I think Cornell Vegetable Program, along with the Capital Area Court, I can't remember what the name of that program is, but those two areas are actually sharing websites, and they an outside person to do that, but with the intent that they would actually end up with a shared resources. So they're a good example of that.
Yep. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. I do have a question from Jen and Nate. It's been a really long time since I used it. I remember analytics couldn't track how many times a PDF was accessed. Is this still true? It is true. However, and I'm guessing this is Jen Carges because your name has two N's. The one thing that you pointed out to me at one point, which I have started to use for our site, is some code can embed on the link, on the PDF link that will allow it to be tracked, but it's a lot of extra work. So you might want to think about that before you do that. The thing that I mentioned also that I didn't talk about very much is that Google Webmaster Tools. Google Master Tools does track PDFs and other types of documents as well, so you can try that as well. Where can we find the recording? I'm going to send you guys all an email with the recording of this webinar. For those of you who sat in on my earlier webinar this week, I haven't done that yet, and I promised you, and I'll send that one as well. And I'm going to post it on the staff site, so you'll be able to get to it from the staff site at any time. Northwest New York team has their own website. I'm not sure, Jen, if they're actually going to be part of area team collaboration, but I do know that for I think the grapes, Lake Erie grape and Finger Lakes grape are actually coming as well as far as pooling their data into one website. Thank you very much, everybody, for showing up. If you have any questions after this, feel free to email me at cce-helpdesk@cornell.edu, and I'll email everybody with the recording of this and with the slide deck and things like that. Thank you.